Hello friends, welcome back. It's Janine on Friday. So today's Freedom Friday, you're going to need a stretchy band, a flex band, a stretchy band, a TheraBand. If you don't have a stretchy band or something that you can use, you could use a belt or a towel. It's not quite the same, but I'll show you some ways that you could use that as well. Stretchy band works the best. So today's Freedom Friday is all about your hamstrings. Now the hamstrings are a strong, tight group of muscles on the back of your leg that run from your sitting bones behind the knee. And there's actually 3 heads to your hamstrings. And they cause a lot of discomfort and grief for people because they can get tight and stuck, which then pulls the pelvis underneath them, right? So if those hamstrings are tight, it pulls the pelvis, starts to jam the low back, and it means that this leg bone doesn't have as much freedom to move in the hip socket. And when we're talking about sports, hiking, walking, running, golfing, where you need to be able to stand in a position where that leg bone moves back in the hip, if you're stuck in this kind of shape, it's not going to be accessible to you. And that causes a lot of pain as well as just mucks up your performance. So a great little stretch today. Using your stretch band, hamstring heaven I call it, hamstrings 3 ways, starting on your back, bringing your stretch band or your strap around the sole of your foot. I invite you to have a pillow under your head for comfort and to also bring your other foot down the mat a little bit. You can keep your knee bent. When you get this top leg up, do your best to straighten it towards your full extension. And then draw your elbows down beside you using your band and your arms to keep your leg up. Now, if you find yourself shaking and finding this really uncomfortable, then ease off a little bit by having the leg a bit farther away or a tiny bit of bend in it. What I don't want you to do is try to pull your leg towards you and lift your hip up. You see what's happening to my hip? So I need that hip to stay down, and I also ideally have a little tiny gap underneath the low back. So this is position 1. This is just lengthening the hamstring, using your strap for support, and in this nice straight position with the leg and the pelvis neutral. We want to take lots of breath here, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. That's our Pilates way of breathing. When you do that, you activate your deep stomach muscles a little bit more strongly on those exhalations. There's position 1. I'd suggest holding it for at least 6 to 10 breaths, so 30 seconds to a minute. Position 2, we hold the strap in one hand. It'll be your outside hand. And then this top leg, we're going to turn it in the hip socket so that the toes point outward. From there, we can guide the leg out to the side. So we're coming into the inside line of the hamstrings now. And you're going to feel that pull right from the top of the inner groin down the inner thigh as well as the hamstrings. So the hamstrings are on the back, but in this shape you also get a stretch into your inner adductors, which contribute to a lot of this tightness. So just press that foot away, do your best to keep your hips down and steady. Lots of breath here. If you were using a band that didn't stretch or a towel, then you would just have to hold it, guide the leg down, and then set yourself in position. With the stretchy band, I can of course just let that band stretch out as I move my leg. You might have to choke up a little bit more. So again, about 5 to 6 deep breaths here, and then you want to bring the leg back to center. Now the third position, we go to the other side. So we're going to work the outside of the hip and hamstrings. I hold the band with my opposite hand and I put my same side hand at the top of the pelvis. And then what I want to do is just hold that pelvis down. So I want to avoid this hip lifting and scrunching up into my waist. So hold that hip, roll it away, keep it steady, and then draw the leg a little bit over and then a little bit up. This is quite intense, so you might have to reposition a couple of times till you find where you can manage it. Hip down, the leg comes a little bit over or across your body, not very far, and then up towards your opposite shoulder. If you can, get your elbow down and focus on breathing to the outside of this leg line as you keep reaching long through the back of your thigh. Again, you want to take about 6 deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth, giving your body time to ease into the stretch. You can't rush these releases. And if it feels too intense, if it feels like you're shaking, if it feels painful, you just ease off a little bit. And then you come back to center. Now here, you want to separate your hands and hold the strap in separate hands, bringing the elbows back down. So we're back to our first position. But you're going to add a circle now. And you can explore how that leg moves in your hip joint. Hopefully, with a little more ease and glide. And then the other direction. So this is our leg circles. If you didn't have a band that stretched, you'd have to move your arms with the leg because that distance would obviously not change. Again, using the stretchy band, you can really work into the band for support. Okay, you release out of that, give the legs a little stretch, and notice the different sensations between the sides. It's really shocking. I always find it so fascinating that just with a minute of movement, how different those sides feel. Okay, so other side, we do the same thing. We want to bring a band around the sole of the foot. Want to set the shoulders down, support with your hands, and move the other leg out a bit. Keep your pelvis down and heavy so you're not tucking your bum. Really drop that weight into your tail and then breathe. Lots of deep breaths up into the back of this leg. And the longer you can stay in these stretches, friends, the better. You know, you don't need to hang out here for hours, but if you can give it a good full minute, that would be brilliant. Focus it on your breath. Take 6 to 10 slow, deep breaths. The second position is we come to the outside. So I hold the band in the same side hand. I let my leg bone turn or externally rotate so the toes point wide. And then I open my leg out to the side, pressing again into that strap and keeping my opposite hip down. You can even hold it down here with your hand. Again, if you're using a band that doesn't stretch, just play with where you need to hold that so that you can support the leg, take some of the weight off, and be able to breathe into this in a relaxed manner. If it feels too intense, ease off. Okay, if it feels like you can go deeper, explore, but don't push too fast into these stretches. This connective tissue is strong and tight, and you want to be mindful to work with your breath and work with this gently. Third position and our last one is across the body to stretch the outside. So we hold the band, we want to bring that leg a little bit across the middle and then a little bit up towards your opposite shoulder. Really important that this hip stays down. So I actually use my hand right at the top of that leg bone and I hold it down. And this can be a very intense stretch all the way down that outside chain, the IT band and the tight connective tissue, as well as that outer hamstring. It might feel very different than your first side as well. So just be in your body, use your breath. I'm not holding these quite as long as I would encourage you to, because I don't want to keep you too long here with me, but 6 to 10 deep breaths, then come back to center. Separate your hands, widen your strap, bring your elbows down, shoulders down, and then move into some of these nice easy circles and see how that feels. So a nice full rotation of the leg bone. With the strap, it's really gentle and lovely. You can go the other way. You want to keep that pelvis still and encourage a nice full circle of the leg and the hip, really getting that hip socket to be nice and lubricated. And then bring yourself out of that. Stretch both legs out. Give them a little shake. And you're good. All right. So pull out your stretchy bands, get down on the mat, and give those a try. 3 different positions, lots of breath. It will release not only your hamstrings, but all the way down the chain of the legs to the feet and up into the hip. We use that a lot with my athletes, a lot with my golfers, a lot with my hikers and skiers to give them better hip function as well. I hope that serves you. Send me a note. Let me know you've watched the video if you've enjoyed it. And yeah, I hope you're getting a lot from these. So thank you so much. Until next week. Bye for now.